Your turn, sir.
The week just ended saw the imposition of states of emergency in 4 parishes following the end of an SOE in St. James. There was controversy over that yet again. Good day. I'm Franklin McKnight, and this is Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast episode 98. 2 schoolboys, neither of whom was of the age to get a license, died in a fiery crash of a motorcycle that one of them was driving to school last week. That tangentially raised the issue once again of a rural area school bus service. Big news this past week too. The government announced a cut in the fares on JUTC buses effective January 1. And again, a question was, what about rural children who pay hundreds of dollars, in many cases, to get to school? Transport Minister Darrell Vaz promised a pilot rollout rural service by the first quarter next year. Now, today was the 80th annual conference of the Jamaica Labour Party, and there was lots coming out of it. We won't have time to deal with it today, but I'm sure we'll come back to it next week. But one of the things we will tell you, just in case you weren't listening, is that the Prime Minister suggested that there's going to be a shake-up of certain, a reorganization, I should put it that way, of certain government departments and so on under one ministry to deal with peace issues. All right, I'm sure you're going to be hearing much about that this week. But now, I'm just going to remind you of our panelists today. Mary White, author, blogger, and businesswoman. Desmond Richards, journalist, businessman, and founder of Rebel Radio Jamaica. Now, we hope to be joined by Winnie Anderson Brown, educator, health facilitator, and she's so on top of some things we want to hear about. But we hope we'll get over a little technical difficulty and be joined by her. So let's start with you, Mary. Just tell us what you're going to take on, and then we'll go to Desmond, and then I will tell you what I'm going to deal with. Mary.
Today, we're going to be talking about a vox pop I did this week, talking to men and women all over, random people, about how to make a man or woman happy in a relationship. You'll be quite surprised to find out
how to make your partner happy in a relationship.
Yes.
Wow.
So they want to stay tuned, because I've summarized them nicely into 3 words for the man, 3 words for the women.
Okay, we'll come to you, Mary. We'll give you a run as usual.
Yes, so they're going to enjoy it.
Desmond, your issue this week.
Well, we want to talk about SOE and also the situation in the Parliament, where the Integrity Commission notified us this week that they have submitted 4 reports to the Parliament. Now we want to know when they will be tabled.
We will come back to you for them, sir, right after this. Well, my topic will be those low salaries paid to workers in many of our top hotels in the #1 industry, tourism. The salaries are just too low. And that's my topic this week. But we're going to come and we're going to start with you, Desmond. Your go.
Well, the public would have seen that the government has declared state of emergency in 4 parishes. Or it's 5 parishes. So it is clear.
4, St. James, Hanover, St. Catherine, and Clarendon. Yes.
Well, it is 5 because they have renewed the state of emergency in St. James. Well,
yes, but reimposed it on St. James and Hanover as 1. So 4 parishes are now on the state of emergency as we speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it is clear that the states of emergency is the key tool in the government's crime fighting box. Now, I don't know. I am not sure that states of emergency is the answer to the enormous crime problem facing the country. And we know that the court has ruled that some persons who were detained during the first round of states of emergency, the court have awarded them millions of dollars. And I know that there are cases pending. Now, I also know that the government made some changes to how the states of emergencies were operated. But it is simply, from my perspective, not the right tool. We also saw where...
Before you go on, what do you find wrong with the states of emergency, or that disturbs you about them being declared?
Well, one of the things about a state of emergency that we must know, is that some civil rights are suspended, right? Now, the states of emergency is supposed to be used in emergency cases. Now, of course, crime is an emergency case, but what to just detain people and lock up people and restrict movements is not the answer to the crime problem. The crime problem has some deep roots which must be dealt with if we are going to address this crime problem. It is not a short-term issue, right? We have to start now. And therefore, to use states of emergency, from my perspective, that is not the answer.
Okay. All right. Thanks. We're going to come back to you on the other part of your discussion that you wanted. You wanted to talk about Integrity Commission reports to Parliament. So let's just go quickly now to Mary.
Yes. Sir Mark, if I may just add to Brother Desmond's views, I agree with him that the state of emergency may not be it cannot be the long-term solution, temporary, but it has to start with the seeds, because until the people are cultured into a culture starting from the unborn child, and the parenting is right, and the laws are right, and all of that, it's just a whole lot of right things happening like a domino effect from pregnancy to adulthood, to have people grow up in a certain culture where crime is not commonplace and crime is looked down on, and people realize that once you're a criminal, you're seen as the scum of the earth within the society. Then this is all going to go on and on and on and on, because the eggs are all rotten by this. So I don't know how they're going to fix it with the rotten eggs. But if I may move on to lighter matters, this week,
Okay.
as I said, we're talking about hitting the street, talking to some men and women about how to make a man or woman happy in a relationship. And I had to sift through a lot of comments of what people were saying. They were saying things like, oh, emotional, we want respect, we want trust, we want...
You said you went out and asked, you asked people. Is that what you're saying? And we want to welcome the people who are joining us, and some of their responses, we will try to get to them. But you said you went out and
yeah, man, I hit the street, Sir Mark.
Okay.
Talk to the people to get the views. What makes a man happy? How to make the woman happy? And I had to sift through, as I was saying, but I narrowed it down to the fact that love is a verb. So you can talk all the good talk, but if you're not doing the right deeds, then that person will not feel the manifestation of your love. And I give a scenario. Would you choose a man who tells you how much he cares, or the man who comes home with flowers to show how much he cares? Most people chose the man who comes home with flowers.
As flowers, people want our money, our
Well, that flowers could represent money. It's something tangible.
tangible. They don't
Yes.
want to hear about love.
They would prefer to go with it to, show them. Then the scenario is, would the woman choose, would you choose a woman who tells you she loves you, or would the woman who surprises you with stew peas to show her love?
With what?
Would you choose a woman who tells you she loves you, or the woman who surprises you with stew peas to show her love?
Your favorite dish.
Desmond, would you answer that?
Desmond, which one?
Desmond is not hearing. Okay, you go ahead, Mary. You have
Right?
2 minutes to finish this
I'm
party
sure if one of
presentation.
Desmond come in, he would choose it stew peas. Most people chose it stew peas.
Really?
Right? Yes, they did. Or some other one of their favorite dish or something tangible that they could eat. Most men chose that. So after tabulating all the comments, here are my 3 things. 1, cooking. The way to a man's heart is always will be through his stomach. 2, cleaning. A man wants a woman who make sure he's clean going out, the house is taken care of. He wants a homemaker. He wants a wifey. He wants a mummy. He wants a wife material. All right? Copulate. A man wants a woman who is going to touch him, who encourages intimacy, who makes him feel like, yeah, I'm the man. He wants a lady in the streets and a freak in the bed.
No, Mary, before and what about the woman's side? You're going to tell us
I
what
have
makes...
those two. So let's go to what the women want.
Yes.
I wrote it up what the women want.
What
The
age group
women-
are these people? What age group are the people you were interviewing?
All and sundry. Everybody that would give me an ear, Mr. Mac, I just get onto them once they were over the age of consent.
Okay, all right, good. Go ahead. Tell
Yes.
us quickly now what about it.
So the woman now truly desires a bridegroom like Jesus who will proclaim, provide, and protect. A woman wants a woman to proclaim, to put a ring on it. Not just to come and say, girl, you're my sweetheart, you're my lover, you're my this, you're my wife. She wants a man to put a ring on it. She wants a man who is going to step up and provide, who have the means to provide, at least for her basic needs. Or to surprise her with an expensive gift if she already have her money. She also wants a man to make her feel protected, safe, both emotionally and physically. So those are the 3 things for the men. And those are the 3 things for the women. That when it all boils down, all roads lead to the intangible must manifest in a tangible in order for that love to be felt, because love is a verb.
All right, before we give Desmond his shot at it, and I come back to my issue this week, Mary, none of the people in your interviews put sex as a high value item?
Yes, the copulation, sir, Mac. I didn't want to use the S word. I substituted the sex word with copulation, which I think is the act of having sex or intimacy. Right, Sir Mark, are you with me? Brother Desmond, are you with me?
Yes, I am here. I am hearing you. I missed out the first part of what you said. You know, are the key ingredients to make a relationship, people in reviving relationship happy. I missed that. But one of the things that I as I said, I didn't hear what all that you said. But
so the man wants a woman to clean, a woman to cook, and a woman to have sex with him.
Okay, because you know, I one of the things that I think is an important ingredient in relationship is security.
For the woman, security. I find that the women are the ones who mostly talk about security, both emotional safety and physical safety of having the presence of a man.
Yes.
That was not high on the man's list.
Yes. And also the economic security.
Yes,
Um,
yes. The women talk about this, the money too. The man
yes,
can provide. Yes.
yes, because one of the things that we must remember, that it wasn't until after the Industrial Revolution that women start working, becoming member of the workforce. It was always the responsibility of the man or men to provide for a woman.
And I think
And that,
the women, we need, as women, brother Desmond, we need now to be careful now that we're out in the work environment, shoulder to shoulder with men, working as equals. We have to be careful that we do not usurp and eclipse the emotions of the men, because men's egos are very fragile. And so they don't want us women, even though we're working women, they don't want us to lose our femininity, because that's one of the things that is very important to make a man feel a certain way towards a woman. So, just to my sisters out there, remember to tone down the masculine energy, because the men still, even though we are strong, independent, empowered, black or white, red, white women, they still expect that at the end of the day, we're going to be soft and feminine, because that's what turns them
My
on.
God, Mary, I'm wondering is what sort of menu and women you're talking to, but I'm not going to discount what you are saying. I think that you have done your own little survey, and it's interesting that you are bringing. You know what somebody said to me last week, Mary?
Yes.
That Mary is bringing back true love to relationships. And I took that as a compliment for you.
Oh,
That you are bringing back
gracias.
and you are advocating true love to relationship. But let me just use up my few minutes now very quickly and talk about tourism and workers' salary.
very good subject.
Jamaica's biggest industry, its largest foreign exchange earner outside of remittances. Some people don't want to remember that remittances bring in more foreign exchange to us every year than tourism. But tourism pays some of the lowest salaries among the industries to its workers. Now, I don't discount the value of this industry to Jamaica and how well it is doing. In fact, great credit to Ed Bartlett, the master marketer, to continue to sell Jamaica's tourism and all the people who are involved with it. This year, so soon after the devastation of COVID-19, Jamaica could see nearly 4 million visitors. Now, I won't bother to mention the earnings numbers, because that is another matter that requires analysis, and this country must come to deal with that at some point. Now, between 80,000 and 120,000 people work in the industry and its associated linked parts directly, and nearly another 200,000 benefit indirectly. Workers all over the system, the tourism system, but especially those in the hotel sector, get low wages. Now, don't make the mistake, though, that the low wages go right through the system. Managers at the very top and middle to top, and of course the foreign ones on contracts here, get paid as well as their counterparts, not just in the Caribbean, but elsewhere. They are the people who supervise the ones who have to smile for the guests, the ones who serve the meals, prepare the rooms, take the luggage, clean the bathrooms. They get salaries barely above the minimum wage, which is paid to household work and shop help. The line workers, therefore, are the ones getting the crumbs. Now, I want to say, and I'm going to allow Desmond because I'm finishing my point here. Some workers in the tourism industry, do you know, earn just above the minimum wage, around 1.5 times the minimum wage, around $20,000 a week, or just about 150 US dollars a week. Yes, those are mainly entry-level people. Those numbers do not include gratuities, which are widely paid, but these wages are too low. And the hotel sector is now feeling the pinch. Workers are leaving in droves. Many more of them are preparing to leave right now. And whenever there's a fair to recruit them bungle up to go. We have got to do something about it, and I'm going to come back to this issue. Desmond, you are.
Well, Franklin, I just want to remind you something, that this low wages to the workers, it is as old as the tourism sector. Now, and you made a point which I want you to look at. Those workers at the top, they are well paid. And this is the structure of how work is done in Jamaica. In Jamaica, the workers at the top, the managers, they are well paid. The workers at the bottom, those are the ones who are suffering. In the latest adjustment to salaries, that is one of the big things. The principals are well paid. Those at the top, the police officers, the civil servants, they are earning thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Those who are at the bottom, those who are at the bottom.
Coming to your Mary, just let him finish the point. Go ahead, Desmond, finish.
Those at the bottom, they remain the ones who are getting sucking salt through a wooden spoon.
That's the mother. I understand.
Mary, you on a point. Mary?
Yes, I understand that view, and it is true. Doesn't change the fact. But is that a specific Jamaican phenomenon, or this is just how hierarchy is set up in businesses and companies and corporations all across the world?
In other words, for a big gap between the top and the bottom, yes. Jamaica's gap is considered to be among the biggest in the world. You know, the differentiation between the people at the bottom and the people at the top.
Well, that's something that we would definitely want to address, because if we're not in keeping with worldwide standards in the hierarchy of salaries, then it is very unfair to our workers who we know work so hard to charm those tourists and keep them coming back.
Well, Desmond.
And not only that, one of the things that the workers in the tourism sector, they are abused by some guests too.
A lot of times I hear.
That is something that
yes, and that has to be sort of dealt with on the individual basis. Desmond, to comment to you for your quickly on your second point about the reports of Parliament, and then we come into Mary to cap off her concerns again with regard to relations.
Yes. You're talking about the reports of Parliament now.
Yes.
Well, as you are aware, and listeners and viewers to this program are aware, is that the latest ruling from the Speaker is that reports from the Integrity Commission and the Auditor General will be sent to oversight committees before they are tabled in Parliament. Now, one of the issues there is that, remember, the parliamentarians represent the electorate. They are the ones who elect us. So when you deny giving them information, you are denying us, the public. The other thing, how regular do this committee is going to meet to look at these reports and then for them to be tabled? That is something I don't know, and that has not been made clear. So here you have four reports.
That it's time that we should get clarity on this issue now. That it's too much of a tug of war. You know, one of the things that the Prime Minister was saying today, Sunday at the conference, is that there are too many conflicts in the society. And for example, this matter of the reports, you know, is why should it be a matter of conflict as to how the reports are tabled, why they're not just tabled as they're sending? They're the people's business. And we tend to generate in Jamaica a lot of energy over issues.
The reason, if you want to hear my reason, the reason for that is because you have a wife and husband team that is in charge of governance in the country, two arms of governance in the country. The Prime Minister's wife is in charge of the Parliament, and he's in charge of the executive, the cabinet. And therefore, what we are seeing here is the speaker is protecting his husband's interest.
Yeah, well, as I said to you,
her husband's interest.
As I said to you before, I have no problem with the speaker because the parliament, both sides didn't have any objection, and the parliament, the speaker didn't drag herself into the position. She was put there by that parliament, by the House, and that included the opposition members. They didn't express any objection. So I don't have any problem with it, with these elected officials deciding or there. I'm just saying that right now we need to end this business of a tug of war over the process of how the Integrity Commission set up by the very parliament, so important to Jamaica, how its reports are dealt with. And I think that is just time now enough for that to be dealt with. Time. Mary.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Matt.
Yes, your
Because
final words
to close now,
sorry,
sir, Matt, I'm going to use
that and your final words on the
yes.
relationship.
I see one of our viewers made a comment that you can't make anyone happy. That's T. You must want to be happy themselves, and you can add your bit. Absolutely no one can make a person happy if they don't want to be happy. I understand that, I respect that comment, but what we're talking about here is in terms of joy. No one can make you joyful. Joy is an intrinsic internal thing, but happiness has to do with the happenings. So if you have people in your circle that are doing things that make you unhappy, such as you have a wife who, when you come home, you go out as a husband to a hard day's work, and you come home and the house is a mess and there's no food on the table, that is going to affect your happiness meter. If you have a husband who is a wife, and you have a husband who is abusive, and he comes home and after you cook up a nice stew piece for him, start to curse you out and be miserable and bring home in work problems, that is good. That happening is going to make your spirit unhappy in a minute. Because
so what do you do in those circumstances?
What do you do?
Yeah.
No, sir, maybe pack your bag and go. Maybe that's what I
Let me face the realities.
So the minute, just to say in final, my people, if you're in a relationship, you have a job, that person's happiness has been entrusted to you. As the Bible says, the woman's body is no longer for the man, and the man is no longer for himself, but for the woman, and vice versa. So we have to take an active responsibility in our partner's happiness.
All right.
So
I buy that. I buy that. We have
Thank you, sir, Matt.
It's very important that your partner is happy, that you work
Absolutely.
on that, and that is a constant piece of work.
And we have to be intentional.
That's your 10 seconds on that.
We have to be intentional about it, sir, Matt.
You know, I have to support most of what Mary said. It takes the wife, the two partners.
You have to be a wife, you know, man. Plenty of relationships. So I said the wife and husband thing is on the decline. I don't know.
You have two parties, man and woman.
Yes.
And for there to be happiness in that relationship, each has a role to play. Absolutely. And they will have to play their roles. If they don't play their roles, it is going to affect the relationship. That is clear to me.
Okay, thank you. I must apologize.
My case.
We gotta move on because we gotta close up the show. I must apologize for Winnie Anderson Brown, who was going to be with us this week. Winnie, I'm so sorry. She had loads of technical issues at the end here, and we are sorry about this. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. This podcast goes on the YouTube channel right away, so you can go back and watch it as you like, and share it with your friends. Please, we ask you to subscribe. On behalf of Desmond Richards and Mary White, I'm Franklin McKnight, and I invite you to join us again next week, Sunday, December 3, for a fresh look at Jamaica on the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. And did I say thanks on behalf of Joshua Black Media Services, who provided the technicals for us. I'm Franklin McKnight. Until then.
That's Okay. We're not.
What? Let me log out them.
Just acknowledge it because we're not.